Do you ever use the phrase, I can't afford it? Do you ever find yourself not financially where you want to be? If that's the case, my friend, it's time for today's mentoring appointment. Come on in. Hello, my friend, and welcome to this week's mentoring appointment. So you want to grow your income and, of course, increase your self-worth. You've probably heard an interesting phrase growing up, and maybe you've even used this phrase a time or two. That phrase, of course, is, I can't afford it. Ugh, I can't even stand to even think those words because they are so detrimental to a person's wealth and success. Oh, but Eric, we're taught to use those words. We're taught to say no to things and that keeps us from spending money. I used to buy into that as well. Unfortunately, anytime you use, say, or even think the words, I can't afford it, you are literally putting a glass ceiling on the amount of money that you can create in your life. You are literally sending a message to your brain which says, no, there's zero possibility that we can actually create the money in our lives to be able to make this purchase that we want to make. And again, it causes your brain to be extremely lazy. I don't know about you, but I want my brain to keep working and to work hard to increase my results rather than saying, nope, here's the limit and you must spend less than that limit. A few years ago, I actually was this close to making that very same mistake. We were on welfare at the time. I had quit my full-time job just a couple of months earlier and my business hadn't taken off yet. And I found out that one of my favorite singers was actually coming to our town to do a concert right around my birthday. Well, I thought, well, that would be a phenomenal birthday activity. And so I went online and found out how much 2 floor-side seats would cost. Because I don't know about you, but I'm the type of person where if I go to a show or a play or concert, I can't have nosebleed seats. I mean, I've got to be close. I've got to be able to see their facial expressions and be able to really know what's going on to get the full experience. I found out that 2 floor-side seats was going to cost us about $220, which at that time, that was a lot of money. And I was this close to thinking, oh, darn it, I can't. And I went, oh my gosh, I can't think that. I cannot put that limit on my brain. And so, instead of saying I couldn't afford the tickets, I began to ask myself, how can I afford these tickets? I actually put it on my vision board, and I began to tell my brain, you know what, brain? You see this? I really want it. Make it happen. The thing about the human brain is whenever we pose questions to it, it generally goes to work looking for the answer. The unfortunate truth is that most people ask themselves negative questions like, why can't I ever afford things? Or why don't I ever have money in my life? And so of course their brain goes to work working on the answer, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it? Have you been doing this, my friend? It's time to stop. Again, instead of saying, I can't afford it, ask yourself the question, how can I afford it? Put your brain to work in the right direction and allow your brain to come up with ways that you could generate the money for it. My friend, any dollar amount is simply one idea away. I'll say that one more time. Any dollar amount is simply one idea away. And so I began to ask myself the question, how can I afford these floor-side seats? How can I afford to go to purchase these tickets and go see my favorite singer? As I began to ask myself, how can I afford this? I remembered that the restaurant that I had stopped working for just months before actually owed me a bonus. This particular restaurant, on each person's 1-year anniversary of working for that restaurant, they gave you a certain bonus. I wasn't exactly sure what it might be, but I figured, hey, I might as well at least ask. I remembered that I had never actually received it. And so I called them and I said, hey, is there any way that you could mail me a check for that bonus that I was supposed to get on my 1-year anniversary? And they said, sure. 6 days before the concert, I go out to my mailbox, find the letter, open it up, and I was shocked to see a check inside for $228. I asked my brain, how could I afford it? I then followed specific action, which led me to being able to create the money to afford those tickets. And of course, we've done this over and over and over ever since then with bigger and bigger things. My friend, cut the phrase, I can't afford it, out of your vocabulary. Yes, even if you're a parent. Wait a second, but what if I'm at the grocery store, with my kids and they're asking me for all this cereal and all this candy and everything? Why don't I tell them I can't afford it? First of all, do you really want to instill that phrase in your kids' heads? Do you really want them to thinking that there is never enough money to go around? Why would you even instill that inside their minds? Instead, what you can do is simply ask them, that's a good idea. What would you like to do to be able to create the money in order to purchase that cereal? Yes, you can give them the responsibility, even with little kids. Maybe you could encourage them to do some extra chores or to go around the neighborhood asking your neighbors if they have any odd jobs around their houses that they could do for however much money they're willing to pay. Empowering your kids rather than telling them you can't afford things and asking them how they could afford it is such a better option. My friend, ask yourself, how can you afford things? And watch as the dollars in your bank account begin to go up. Great job in today's mentoring appointment, my friend. Did you learn a lot? How many people did you know that use that phrase? You're not allowed to even think that phrase anymore, my friend. You gotta say, how can I afford it? You're gonna do it, right? And of course, as always, make sure to comment below. Let us know how much you like this video and give us a thumbs up. Of course, if you really want to take your financial situation to the next level, join us at one of our next live events. I'm not saying that the event is going to absolutely change your life, but you may consider joining us and putting these tools into practice at one of our next live events. Go to feelwelllivewell.com, click on live events, and come to whichever one works best for your calendar. Oh, but Eric, as I'm on there, they're just so expensive. Like, I'm tempted to say I can't. My friend, ask yourself, how can I afford a ticket to the live event? My friend, you so deserve it. You can't afford not to go to the event. Your life and your results just might be depending on you coming. So what are you waiting for? Get registered and come to one of our next live events right away.